There, so today we have an update. This is day 2 in Denver. I'll cover day 1 because literally it's like the afternoon and everybody's about to come into the Airbnb. So flew into Denver, long day. I was up before 6 a.m. I got to Denver, checked into my hotel by noon. So despite the 2 hours I lost from the time zone change. So confusing. I was in a hotel for a first day downtown Denver. Very slow city, very quiet, clean, and very slow city. Spent about a day in downtown and just not much going on. I'm used to hustle and bustle of New York, and it's just like, despite it being a downtown, where the tall buildings are, and where Union Station, their big train station, all that stuff, just slow city, it just seemed like nobody's on the street, really quiet city, very strange. So yeah, did that, and then now I'm in Airbnb for the rest of the trip. We're in Rhino, River North, Denver. So first stop we hit was Hops and Pie. Hops and Pie beer bar. Shout out to Wonderment Brewing. John has actually sent me a beer before, and his partner Sam actually found out that I was at the bar because I guess the bartender messaged and he lives right there. He dropped off some beer to try. I have a beer to review, so shout out to John and Sam. Really awesome, you guys. Good luck. They're opening a brewery in Denver at some point, so really cool stuff. Fun to just get into Denver and ready, get recognized by awesome people. So first beer we got was Beer Shot Lager House Slow Pour Pils. Crisp, clean, nice firm bitterness. Nice to finally have that beer on draft. And so much of that beer also is the presentation, that fancy glass they do with the little etched bottom of the glass so the carbonation rises, and then that little pocket of wonderful foam you have from the slow pour. Then I had Comrade. Didn't know about Comrade Brewing before, but it's more Dodge, less Ram, something like that. GABF 2019 medal winner. What a delicious beer. I mean, just it reminded me of a batch 1 Sip of Sunshine in the bomber bottles, yellow sticker, just piney, resinous, and juicy in a way the juicy malt. Actually had malt backbone, even though I guess that phrase is not overused anymore because beers no longer have malt backbone. It's all hazy or, thin, skinny beers, cold IPA, right? Actually had a little bit of firm bitterness, piney, resiny, certainly different from the Pacific Northwest beers, which are a lot more I found a little bit cleaner. They're lighter. This one had a little bit heft to it, but not cloyingly sweet. So remind me a little bit Sierra Nevada Torpedo maybe, but just a different level, of just aromatics of grapefruit, pine, resin, and the juicy malt on it, just so absolutely delicious. Then we walked a mile to Hogshead, and that was my sort of I need to go there kind of things. And boy, did it not disappoint. The first thing I got, boom, give me a 3.8% Imperial 20-ounce pint of their, was it just ordinary bitter? Yeah, ordinary bitter, I guess, yeah. Wow. I mean, we're talking about a beer that's 0.5 less ABV than Bud Light. And it's just malt complexity and orange marmalade hops and it's I didn't have an issue people call Cask beer warm and flat. The carbonation just made it digestible. The temperature was good. I just liked the temperature of it. I didn't want my beer crisp. I don't drink my beers freezing cold anyway, right? And then the firm bitterness, for a beer at 3.8, just nice bitterness. Then I went to their mild and has all that kind of rich, bready complexity that you get from something that is decocted. I thought of decoction, right? I think of Germany, I think of Märzen, I think of Doppelbock, and it's just there's so much going on for a beer that's I think their mild is also 4.2. And then I went onto their Black Gold Porter, and man, 5.5%, unbelievable. It reminded me of Hill Farm Everett. It just has all the layers and bulk complexity, dark fruit, cocoa, milk chocolate, dark chocolate, but never going towards the acrid, smoky, bitter kind of American use of darker malts, and then without the distracting parts of the piney and citrusy hops that are judiciously used in American stout or imperial stout. And it's just man, the malt and then the chocolate just rides and rides. I even took a crowd of it, so I got to try it on both CO2 and Cask. And so all the beers I tried were Cask, and my friend got their session ale in CO2, and I tried it. I was ooh, this is so snappy, cold, and carbonated. The reference is there, but the sessionability of something on Cask was unbelievable. The first time ever for me trying proper British Cask, and I don't know what the plans for these guys are, but I will definitely go back. And I drank. So we had a couple beers. We literally had 2 beers-ish at Hops and Pie. I drank through 2 of those Imperial pints and a half Imperial pint, no questions. And this is with me jet lag, traveling all day, tired. It's just so digestible, so delicious. And then that's pretty much like all we did. I went to like, we were downtown Denver. We went to like the Yard House, which is like a Darden chain restaurant, like, you know, with Olive Garden and Red Lobster and stuff. I got a Schneiderweiss Aventinas, was absolutely delicious. And then Prost Brewery in town had their Hefeweizen, very good. And that's about it. But Hogs Head had what? 2 beers, well, 2.5 beers, and then we got a crowler to enjoy at the hotel. So, but yeah, Hogs Head, what a highlight, what a highlight, what a highlight. And it's a shame because once I leave here, that doesn't exist. Like, you can't go anywhere else that has that. Florida for sure doesn't have it, and I think there's very, very few breweries that are doing that kind of beer. So, Hogs Head, wow, it's just crazy to think about these beers that are like under 4%, like 5 topped, and they're just so like the complexity of like of the yeast and the malt and the hops and then just how all that is transformed into this glass of tiny beer that is just so drinkable, that has just so much more flavor. Like because you're in the reference of like macro beer, you're in the reference of beers that are, you know, PBR and Coors and Bud and Light, you know, and you think about it. And I just reviewed Bud Light, and it's just unbelievable to think that these are such vastly different beers at similar ABVs. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, you know, it's shocking because you think people would try to do more at that ABV, but I guess you sort of can't. Something's magical about like the formats of cask and the lower carbonation and the temperature of serving. Yeah, it just makes that combination with, you know, the 4 ingredients is just mind blowing. So yeah, I'm still like godsmacked over how good those beers were. So Hogs Head, exciting. We literally are now like 5 minutes from like walking to like Beer Shot Lager House around the corner from 14er Brewing. So really cool. Excited to see what we do today. Literally the guys are about to arrive from their Uber from a flight. We've got 6 of us and we're gonna hang out and enjoy some beers. I definitely need to go. Cohesion's like not too far that way. Take an Uber there. I definitely wanna, well, I'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you how my trip goes. So that's my update so far. Cheers, guys.